Good morning to the Honorable Ministers of the Council, members of the media, online viewers, radio listeners via St. Martin Gov Radio 107.9 FM and respective radio stations island-wide. I'm Relika Roach and welcome to the live Council of Ministers press briefing for today, Wednesday, February 17, 2021. At this time, I would like to invite the Minister of Education, Culture, Youth and Sport, the Honorable Dr. Anders Rudolph Samuel, to address you. Minister Samuel, you have the virtual floor.
Thank you, Relika, and good morning to you. Good morning to your team. Good morning, PM. Good morning to my colleague ministers. Good morning to the media. A blessed day and good morning to the people of St. Martin. The Ministry of Education continues to prioritize school safety with a number of initiatives over the last years. The COVID-19 pandemic has made evident how fragile our different systems are. The school sector has become one of the worst affected sectors all over the world. So from the 15th to the 26th of March, the Regional Review on School Safety in the Context of Systemic Risk, the Virtual Caribbean School Safety Initiative, Pre-Ministerial Forum, will assess experiences of the education sector's COVID-19 response and recovery prior and during the 2020 hurricane season. It will also discuss the need for coordinating policies and actions for prevention and mitigation to build education sector resilience. The Pre-Ministerial Forum will also highlight the fact that ensuring school safety is a starting point for reactivating the economy while discussing the fiscal limitations that might impact the region due to economic crisis resulting from the pandemic. This event, which will set the agenda for the third Caribbean School Safety Initiative Ministerial Forum to be held in St. Martin in 2022, will promote a culture of disaster prevention, resilience, and responsible citizenship. It will also generate understanding of disaster risk, supporting mutual learning and share experiences. It will encourage public and private stakeholders to actively engage in such initiatives and to develop new ones at the local level, national, regional, and global levels, as it is envisioned in the Sendai Framework for Disaster Risk Reduction from 2015 to 2030. The forum will host not only meetings between the Ministers of Education of the Caribbean, but also between permanent secretaries, National Disaster Management Office directors, intersectoral partners, educators, and youth organizations. The forum is hosted by the Ministry of Education, Culture, and Sports, together with the Ministry of Education of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The organizing committee is composed of the National St. Vincent and the organizing committee is composed of the school safety focal points of St. Martin and St. Vincent and the Grenadines, as well as by the regional and international partners supporting the school safety, this Caribbean School Safety Initiative, notable the CIDEMA, UNDRR, UNICEF, UNESCO, and Israel Aid, among others. The focal point for St. Martin and the visionary for this virtual forum is the manager and the Student Support Services Division Head, Mrs. Olga Mussington-Service. She is also chair of the local planning committee. I thank you for now, Relika, and I will wait any questions.
Thank you, Minister Samuel, for your opening remarks. At this time, I would like to invite the Minister of Public Health, Social Development, and Labor, the Honorable Richard Panafleck, to address you. Minister Panafleck, you have the virtual floor.
Thank you, Ms. Roach. Good morning to the members of the media, my esteemed colleagues of the Council Minister, and the people of St. Martin. As of February 16, 2013, persons had a laboratory-confirmed COVID-19 infection. To date, there have been 1,920 27 persons that have recovered from the COVID-19, and 27 persons have passed away. There are currently 59 cases that are actively being monitored by CPS. Since our COVID-19 vaccination registration launched last week, Thursday, over 1,600 persons have already registered to receive the vaccine. On behalf of the vaccine management team, I want to thank the public for their questions, and I hope that the information presented provided clarity on some of the concerns brought forward. One point of concern brought forward last week, which may have caused some confusion regarding a statement made on underlying conditions and eligibility for vaccine. A person taking blood thinners is not a reason to not take the vaccine. All persons are encouraged to engage in conversation with their general practitioners, their home doctor, if they have any question or concern about their underlying medical conditions and their eligibility to receive the vaccine. As a reminder to the public, the vaccination administration location will start at CPS and then will roll out to the community help desk, not the community centers, in Cole Bay and Dutch Quarter. Any changes to these locations will be communicated in a timely manner to the public. For the questions about vaccinations, the public can email vaccination@stmartingov.org. I repeat, vaccination@stmartingov.org, or call CPS at 914. I would like to remind everyone of the necessary precautions to safeguard the health, that of their families and our community. If you are experiencing flu-like symptoms, stay at home and call your family doctor. Most importantly, continue to wear a mask, practice 2 meter social distancing, sanitize and wash your hands frequently, and be cautious of large gatherings. For now, I would like to thank all. God bless you, and I'll wait for the questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister Panafleck, for your opening remarks. If you've just joined us, you are watching the live Council of Ministers press briefing for today, Wednesday, February 17th, 2021. Thank you for joining us. We now move on to the question and answer session. The virtual floor is open, and Lyndon Brown of BCN TV, you have the floor. Lyndon, can you unmute your mic, please? Lyndon, we cannot hear you. You need to unmute your mic. Okay, we're going to have to go ahead and move on. Lyndon is having some technical difficulties. I'd like to invite Bibi Shaw of SMA News. You have the virtual floor.
Good morning, colleagues. Good morning, ministers. I'll pose my first question to Minister Panafleck. Minister, I think I asked you this question last week, and I didn't get a response. And then I heard the very question came up yesterday again in Parliament. And I'm speaking about the guideline for the antigen test, the guidelines that were just published about a week and a half ago. That guidelines were published by the Inspectorate. The testing center in Simpson Bay is working with HCLS Lab, and there is some communication and doctors that are not that they're not happy with the situation, and they're asking if there's an extra fee that has to be paid for the testing, for the report that they have to get, for example, from SLS Lab, a government lab. What I need to know today, Minister Panafleck, why is it the government did not also choose to incorporate SLS to work with this lab in Simpson Bay? So whatever charges, and to get the report, people will not have to pay extra.
Thank you, Ms. Shaw, for the question. Indeed, there is some questions and concern concerning the guideline. First of all, I want to make it clear, Inspectorate of any ministry works independent to carry out their jobs. They are not the ones that state any laws, but they are the ones that control that all the laws are being adhered to. Secondly, guidelines are something that might seems to be new, but guideline is what, like they say, is policy that have to be followed, brings clarity to the position, what will be checked on, and what you have to adhere to. The situation that is here, that was brought again in Parliament yesterday, I will have to say that we will look into it again to see what are the points of constraint. As you might know, I had to come this morning. I had some meetings, but I didn't get to SLS to check with them also what is the issue concerning and what are they, if they are charging, why they are doing it for it. So I have the answers. I will get back to with that as soon as possible. What I know as so far is this point of care, well, because point of cares are the facilities, either pharmacies of general practitioners that pick up to them to do the testing, which amplify the amount of locations where it's testing, that you don't have to get information coming in, where pictures with people standing in line and so on, and then they complaining about all those kind of things. So to facilitate more locations, there are general practitioners that do it. And what I have understood so far and the information getting is, except of maybe some, most of them or all of them agree and are following the guidelines. There are laws that you have to follow, and you have to make sure that everything is being done the correct way. Another factor also is, as the U.S. and the Canadian territory, especially the U.S. territory, is one of our major clients as tourist market. We have to make sure that we adhere also to what the new administration have changed and brought forward as their requirements, so that we are not being shut out of being able to receive our tourists that comes from the U.S. market, that we graciously thank them for that. So we are looking into the matter. We will come with a decision about it, but as I stated again, to make it clarity, inspectorates are independent organization within a ministry to not only check the establishments, but also to check of government if they are doing the things according to the law. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister Panafleck, and thank you, Bibi, for the question. We would go back now to Lyndon Brown of BCN TV. You have the virtual floor. Lyndon, unfortunately, you're still muted. Lyndon, you're having some technical difficulties. We still cannot hear you, and I cannot unmute you either. So you'd have to sign out and sign back in. We'll go ahead and move on. I would now like to invite Stephen Cerulean of PJD2 Radio. You have the virtual floor.
Thank you, Ms. Roach. Good morning to all ministers. Good morning to you as well. My question is off the bat for the Minister of VSA, Richard Panafleck. Mr. You said that over 1,600 persons have registered to receive the vaccine. Can you say what percentage is male, female, and of course, healthcare workers?
Thank you, Mr. Cerulean. The information that I got is what I got early this morning. The percentage male, female health workers, 60 plus or under, is not, I didn't receive it as yet. The other thing is also, these are information gathered through the web, so online. Those that register online, there's also the possibility for those, and I want to make use of this opportunity to reiterate again that there are also possibility to register via your general practitioner, your home doctor, or the pharmacies. where you will get a form and you can fill it in. And one of those things that people that have their medical condition, it's good if you can do that by your general practitioner, because you can then discuss if there is any reasons that you think of concern. Most of the reasons that people might think don't have any impact, but it's always good for the people to know about their personal, because every individual is different. I would like to say something else, right? You will continue hearing the concern about people dying using the vaccine. Out of the investigations so far, those that have passed away were people that their health situation was very fragile. They are not only of age, but there was in a health situation that's fragile. And as that, it is a good thing for the general practitioner that have your medical history to be involved to see if or not. And there will be protocols that as time passes, it will be being adapted to what the needs and what the population needs expect. Another thing about, if you allow me for another thing, the Pfizer, up to now, from all the vaccines that you have in the worldwide that have passed the necessary medical administration, either the EMA, that's European, or the FDA, because the Pfizer has been approved by both, and that is USA, and then Europe, and then after, besides that, you have also the countries themselves that have these tests, is the highest. The highest percentage after the second dosage that you will be protected. And why was the Pfizer brought in? The first, because it is shown also that that one is the one that have the best effect for people of the senior citizens. In our case, that is 60 plus. So that is the thing. I hear a lot of commentary about other brands and say, yes, as if you follow them, you will see that they are all above 50, and that is the acceptable and high immune rate for vaccinations, but they have different graduation. And the other thing is, why people over 18? Because the test that was done with these vaccines was done up to 16, and then they was take the safety margin of vaccinating 18 and up. I hope I was clear about that. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister Panafleck, and thank you, Stephen, for the question. Before we continue, I would like to invite the Prime Minister and Minister of General Affairs to address you. Prime Minister Jacobs, you have the virtual floor.
Hello, good morning. Good morning to you, Relika. Good morning to my colleagues and the media within this platform, as well as those following and listening to this broadcast. This morning, unfortunately, I wasn't able to sign in on time, and I won't have many statements to make, as there are persons from the Telem Group of Company trying to meet with my person. I have, in the meantime, had discussions with Telem management as well.
Prime Minister Jacobs. Okay, it seems like we may have lost the Prime Minister as she's experiencing some technical difficulties. So we'll move ahead to the next question and answer from the next media house. Also, please note the Minister of Public Housing, Spatial Planning, Environment and Infrastructure, the Honorable Egbert Duran, is present in the meeting this morning. I would now like to invite Jeffrey Sokran of Isle 92 Radio. You have the virtual floor.
Thank you, Relika. Good morning to everyone, and thank you once again for hosting this very important press briefing. It really does set us aside from many places in the world that we have this level of transparency, and for that I say thank you. Minister Panafleck, I was hoping I might be able to run a question by you. It's been reported in our newspaper here on the island that only a little more than 1,600 people have registered for the vaccine to date. And I realize that it's only been about a week since that, a little less than a week since that link has been available, but that's an incredibly small number when we consider our total population on the Dutch side of the island. How are we going to radically increase that number, and what are the concrete action plans that we have to encourage more and more of our residents to feel like they can register and safely take the vaccine? Thank you, Minister.
Thank you, Dr. Sok. We will continuously have awareness campaign going on to make the people aware how to register so that the information needed can be submitted and then collected by CPS so that we can plan the vaccination in an orderly manner. Similarly, the people, perhaps the message is not getting across yet. There are also those that are listening to the negative aspect of vaccination. I have to say like this. There is this government, this Ministry of Health is not telling you no lies. We bring it as it is. As you say, Dr. Sok, transparency. What we get is what I will send out and inform the public. Everybody. I don't have nothing to hide. It's no conspiracy theory, because if that's the case, then I will be fooled the same way. And I don't like to be that. So the vaccination is something, and allow me, because even though we have quite some information sessions already, we have even had live sessions where people could ask their question and thing. I will have to say it was not overwhelmed by the amount of people that was following. And this is one of our things in the Caribbean. People like to hear sensational news, but when you have positive news, it don't spill over like oil over water so fast. So it takes a lot of effort for you to bring the message over. You see that those that really understand the health issues, they are coming forward, requesting information, they register. But there are that group that for one or other reason either are not even bothering with the total situation, or they are just of attitude of, yeah, but that's a conspiracy theory and thing. What reasons would I have to have any conspiracy theory with vaccination? The vaccination will build up your immune. Now we have people, most of us, all of us, from babies up to the age that we are, got all kind of vaccinations. All of a sudden, vaccination is the worst thing that was invented, while we are all alive right now because we all got vaccinated from babies. There are so many diseases, if we weren't vaccinated for them, we'll have massive casualties being recorded. So there is a vaccine for this disease that is because of the virus you will get it. But right now, you have all these questions about these vaccines. Yes, the vaccine this and the vaccine that. The vaccine is a remedy to build up your immune against this virus that your body didn't recognize before. I hope I was clear.
Thank you, Minister. Thank you, Minister Panafleck, and thank you, Dr. Sock, for the question. I would now once again like to re-invite the Prime Minister of St. Martin, the Honorable Severi Jacobs Sojesi. Prime Minister, you have the virtual floor.
Thank you, Ms. Rolika, Ms. Roach, and my apologies for, but I had a technical situation. I was on the Wi-Fi, apparently, and that was pretty unstable. What I was stating, though, was that so I was made aware. I don't know how much of my information that was broadcast, so I'll start over. As I got to the building today, I was made aware that there were some TELEM personnel waiting to see me. I was not able to see them at this time, and I did take up immediate contact with the management of TELEM to find out what exactly was the problem. I had seen a letter that was written to the unions. I also spoke with the head of the union representing TELEM workers, Mr. Averts, and I have asked both parties to have a discussion with each other, which I'm looking forward to hearing the result of in the course of today. I have been able to speak to at least two of the management team, and I'm looking forward to be updated that the information that has been disseminated in the letter can be properly discussed between both parties. So I look forward to hearing about that and trust that in the meantime that they have received my message. Also during last week, I had a meeting with the CCSU's membership, which is the membership that is represented by representative of civil servants. That meeting went quite well. During the meeting, the COVID-19 temporary national ordinance regulating the austerity measures related to civil servants, which was passed in Parliament on Wednesday, February 3rd, was discussed, and members received a copy of the law as well. We were able to discuss some of our concerns, both sets of parties, in the presence of the chairperson of the CCSU Secretariat, and we were able to give clarity on how the law would affect our civil servants. I was also able to update them that I did have a couple of meetings with the staff to be able to ensure that they knew what was going on, and the CCSU membership we have agreed moving forward that we will meet on a quarterly basis to discuss relevant topics, but of course, in between, if necessary, other meetings can be called. There are several topics that are to be discussed, so we would like to establish working groups made up of civil servants as well as a union to be able to have more in-depth discussions prior to it coming to a decision-making on the CCSU platform. So those smaller information sessions also will be organized within the work groups on a technical level moving forward, and quarterly we will be meeting as standard. All parties, both the membership, so the unions that were involved, which are the WICSU PSU, the Y2 and the APFO, were part of that meeting, and we agreed that we will continue to use the CCSU for our decision making and to anything that relates to policies that touch on the civil service. There were other documents that were to be shared, which I hope have been shared in the meantime, but if not, I will double check to make sure that that takes place in terms of policy changes that government is undergoing, working from home, etc., which will be shared with the unions as well. Both entities reiterated our goals of effective representation, good working relations, and as well as continued good service to the general public and preservation of the rights of workers. There are several meetings scheduled to take place regarding the national NRPB and our steering committee in this week. We are having pre-meetings. This was also discussed during our Council of Ministers and will continue tomorrow on specific projects. And so our Council of Ministers remain engaged in ensuring that we can complete the projects. Hoping to have informed you sufficiently at this point, and I will remain available until 10:30 for questions.
Thank you, Prime Minister Jacobs, for your opening remarks. I would now like to invite Lyndon Brown of BCN TV. You have the virtual floor.
Well, happened. A miracle happened now, so it's on again. But anyways, I'm gonna engage with the Prime Minister again. Good morning to the people of St. Martin and to the ministers that are present here today. Minister, last week you mentioned that you will be discussing the letter, which well, I get a letter also from the email from the World Bank also. So the question is, seeing that it's between the government and the World Bank, why would the World Bank send a letter to medias on the island? And you said you promised us that you're gonna discuss it and get back to.
Yes, thank you for that question. It is indeed an internal matter. And when there's always correspondence back and forth between stakeholders. As you know, the World Bank is one of our stakeholders with the trust fund, and we have communication on a regular basis. It is unfortunate that the letter that was sent was published. I do not know how you got that, and if you did receive that directly from the World Bank, then I would like to see that email thread so I can deal with that. But in no way or, let's say, form am I promoting the discussion of internal documents before they have been dealt with internally.
Thank you, Prime Minister Jacobs, and thank you, Lyndon, for the question. We now move on to the second round of questions, and I would like to invite Bibi Shah of SMN News. You have the virtual floor.
Thank you, Raika. Good morning, Prime Minister Jacobs. I would make a clarification before I move to my second question. Minister Panafleck, I am not contesting or even discussing the policy or the guidelines that was published by the Inspectorate. I do believe that there needs to be procedures and protocols when testings are done. My question to you, Minister Panafleck, is why SLS, the government lab, was not involved with these testing points so that people will not have to pay extra. And of course, nobody would have this kind of the discussion taking place. So I assume when you get my answer, you will focus as to why SLS was not informed. I'll move my second question now, Laika, to the Minister of Roaming. Minister Egbert Duran, I am sure you are aware and you have been following the developments at our government-owned company, GEBE. There have been open letters, there have been articles, there have been everything that you can talk about or name in the public domain regarding GEBE and the recruitment process. What I'd like to ask you, Minister, have you gotten a final report about this recruitment process telling you whether or not the candidates that were selected, for example, the CEO candidate, if he officially declined, and if the second candidate in line is now tipped for that position? Minister, I got word last night that a contract of 2 months was signed for an interim director to take the helm of GEBE as of tomorrow. The information I'm receiving, and based on all the social media posts and media articles about the individual, is very, very questioning to put at the helm of a government-owned company that has millions of dollars in it. Can you give us an update, please?
Good morning, Prime Minister, colleague ministers, members of the media, and a special good morning to the people of St. Martin. Your first question was, Bibi, regarding the process. I did receive a report yesterday, which I did not discuss internally with the Council of Ministers as yet, so I will not divulge into that before we have that discussion. Secondly, with respect to a contract being signed with a second or another interim director, I have no information on that. And as you know from the media as well, that there will be a meeting taking place tomorrow with the shareholder and also the Supervisory Board of Directors and also management of GEBE. and then we will have more information, and then the information will be forthcoming once it is public knowledge. Hope to have answered your question.
Thank you, Minister Duran, and thank you, Bibi, for the question. I would now like to invite Stephen Cerulean of PJDC Radio. You have the virtual floor.
Thank you, Ms. Roach. My question is for the Minister of ECYS, Dr. Andres Rudolph Samia. From the 15th to the 26th of March, Minister St. Martin will co-host the Caribbean School Safety Pre-Ministerial Forum. Can you tell us as to who has been invited to be part of this forum, and B, will that be done in a virtual platform?
Even for the question, the invitees is most naturally the ministers of education from CARICOM and also those from the region. The list is extensive. What I will do is I will just make a synopsis of it, and I will send it to you so that you can have all the names of all of those ministers of education of the region that will be involved.
And will that be hosted in a digital platform?
What is actually happening is that the ministerial meeting of a school safety initiative will take place in St. Martin in 2022, but we are having a pre-meeting in March. So that will be a virtual meeting because of the situation with the pandemic. If the pandemic was not there, we would have had all of these ministers coming to St. Martin and have a wonderful sit down to discuss school safety.
Thank you, Minister Samuel, and thank you, Stephen, for the question. I would now like to invite Jeffrey Sokran of Isle 92 Radio. You have the virtual floor.
Thank you, Relika. Minister Panafleck, if I could ask you to elaborate a little further on some of the concrete action steps that the ministry will take to encourage more people to become registered to take the vaccine. How are we going to change their mind? What are we going to do? And then along those lines, when do we expect vaccinations to begin? It's also come to the attention of this radio station that many folks that are not residents are submitting their request to register online. They're getting confirmed responses out of the system. That doesn't necessarily mean they'll be getting an appointment, but what are we going to do to make sure that folks that are truly not residents, illegal or legal, are prevented from registering and getting an appointment for a vaccine? Thank you, Minister.
Thank you, Dr. Sok. As by now, we all realize that you can never give enough information, neither stress enough about the positive effects that the vaccination will bring. We have spoken many times about the larger group of people you get vaccinated, the bigger the herd immune will be, and that means that we will be able to going forward with our lives as best as possible, as we used to know it, what they call the new norm. We have, as Health Ministry, with CPS, White and Yellow Cross, there is a vaccination manager, St. Martin Medical Center, all the professionals. We have given information. We kept information sessions. We constantly are doing an awareness campaign where we are telling the people to get registered, at the vaccination, what it entails. We have other. I have to say, one of the things that St. Martin is lacking, and you see this with this pandemic is what in many countries you have as a national broadcast, meaning that you will have all the radios and all the TV stations, not Facebook, TV station, simultaneously broadcast and bring the message over. Unfortunately, that is a challenge here on St. Martin to have that, because then you know that, let's say in the prime time that most people are home looking at news normally, and so you will pass that information and you will make the people aware. Now, within our means, how on St. Martin we send out information either via the 109.7 or via your medias and then the social medias, we are bringing it over. I cannot mandate people to seek the information, but in all kind of ways, the information is going. It's going via your radio, via the other media platforms. We are talking. When I meet people, they ask questions. I answer them. I give them the answer as it is. So we will continue making it available. Maybe we have to make more spots and tell the people listen, what are the benefits of the vaccination? The vaccination will bring with it that if a large part, and then we're talking 70–85% of the community is vaccinated. And when I talk about community, I don't talk about document and undocumented, because this thing is a health situation. This thing is nothing about your residency. It's about you living here on the territory, and everybody have to build up the immune system that people are saying because you was positive will not help you sufficiently to deal with the disease of the COVID, neither with its variants. And they are doing research constantly, because this is something that is being done and is going on in process, constantly being researched in all the different kind of variants and all what have to do with this disease. This disease is something, why, and that's another thing, why this vaccine came so fast is because the world order seems to the effect of this disease economically for all the nations. It's not only for St. Martin, it's worldwide. So what they did is they put a lot of funds into it so that they can work on it faster. In one of the sessions that we had, Emmanuel Duits explained what is the steps, the 4 or 5 steps that have to be taken, and these steps was going faster, especially if test 3, where you need the funds to continue evolve the vaccination so that you can do mass production. For instance, in our case, our kingdom partner, the Netherlands, have invested pre-finance the bought of the vaccination before it was ended, so that by now that it is ended, it's approved and it's ready to go, that they have the amounts that they have for the Netherlands and for us as forming the kingdom partner. The news, the world news is that many countries that are not able to get vaccination yet. If it's not for the first in 2022, it's out there. I wish that the people, before they say no, they get well informed. And that is one of the things that we as government, as the health ministry, are constantly doing and giving the people information. Even though it's your own decision, but you have to understand, if we all get vaccinated, or most of us get vaccinated, those people that of health reasons are critical will then not have to be vaccinated, because we form the cordon of health around them, And because we cannot transmit it, they will be safe too. So it's not only for you, but it's also for your loved ones, for your community, for all of those that we have to do it. Thank you. I won't take too much time.
Thank you, Minister Panafleck. I would now like to invite Lyndon Brown of BCN TV. You have the virtual floor.
Well, Minister Panafleck is not over. The conversation continuing with you, Mr. Panafleck. Mr. Panafleck, we want to, recently, from this forum, it mentioned that 70% of people at St. Martin will be allotted to take the vaccine will be available for 70%. Now, Mr. Panafleck, well, I know you was part of the immigration apparatus, but what is the population really of the people? And lastly, those who do not take the vaccine, what will be the consequences?
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Yesterday in Parliament, there was talking about what is the population of St. Martin. What we are based our figures on is 59,000 persons, about 60,000, let's make it easy. Based on that, a calculation is being made because of a lot of people stating that they will not do it. Another thing is also, don't forget, from 0 till 18 will not be vaccinated. So you have that part of population too. People are talking about the whole population, forgetting that there are the ones from 0 to 18. I consider them also part of the population, but they are not going to be vaccinated. So the rest of the amount that from this 59,000 is those that are the ones that are eligible to be vaccinated. So, and then when you do your calculation, naturally you take in account those that will not do it. There is not only people that will out of misinformation say they won't take it. There are those also that we are taking in consideration that because of their belief, their religion beliefs or whatever matter, just like they won't take blood, they won't take that. So you do that calculation. But as we continue and as we improve, yes, we will be counting that more and more people will start getting aware what is at stake and then will get vaccinated. Mr. Brown, St. Martin is not the first one to get vaccinated. There are many nations that are far beyond the amount of people living on St. Martin, both north and south, that vaccinated and started to being vaccinated the two vaccines that the people are getting. So there is much information out there that we all can search for and get it without saying that it's me telling you what it is. You can do your own research and you will see it. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister Panafleck, and thank you, Lyndon, for the question. We now move on to the third and final round of questions. Members of the media, please take note that we are running short on time. Bibi Shah, you have the virtual floor.
Thank you, Relaika. Minister Panafleck, how does your ministry intend to tackle naysayers or anti-vaxxers? For example, the doctor who was on a video promoting all kinds of information and saying that the vaccine will alter your DNA. Here we have a local doctor sharing what I believe is false information to the people. And you are saying, yes, we are doing as much as we can to convince people to take their vaccines and further protect their immunity. But you have a doctor that you also referring people to talk to their house doctor, get more information from their house doctor. The doctor in the video is a known house doctor. What are the people supposed to do when you have doctors such as this giving this kind of information? What has your ministry done?
Thank you, Ms. Shaw. You're right. There was a local known doctor that brought out some information, Carib Network, and it's amazing how small the world becomes, because that news went all the way 9,000 kilometers on the other side of the ocean, but that information everybody seems to find. But the information that set the record straight, apparently that was issue here, the majority of the people didn't get. The information that was sent out by this doctor was contradicted by the immunologist, Professor Dr. Duits, stating what he is stating now. But forget about that. The next day, there was an information session for the doctors. And I'm happy to say I saw the doctor there. And the doctor was one of them that asked the most questions. And the professor, Duits, I don't want to say for you to say, but the professor, because he also gives lectures to universities, he flies all over the kingdom and Europe, answer all his questions, answer all his doubts. The thing that I have to say that is a pity is that nobody afterwards didn't ask him for comments after that he got all the information that he asked about. And yes, I understand. Bad news travel faster than positive news, but that's how the life is. But we will continue giving information. We will continue having sessions. We did have sessions also with community leaders of those that are living like what everybody like to mention. While I talk about everybody from the community over the age of 18 getting vaccinated, have the possibility to get vaccinated. Now all of a sudden it becomes an immigration issue. People wants to, yeah, but they're not undocumented. Everybody have the opportunity to get vaccinated. And we have invited the community leaders also, and we will continue informing through community leaders to all kind of society leaders to reach out to the vast majority of the population so that we can get the information. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister Panafleck. I would now like to invite Stephen Cerulean. You have the virtual floor.
Thank you, Ms. Roach. My final question is for the Minister of VSA, Richard Panafleck. It has been reported, Minister, that the Netherlands will send some 341,300 vaccines to the Dutch Caribbean in the coming months. Has it been decided as to how much of the vaccine will St. Martin or will be made available to St. Martin?
The totality of the vaccination will be set in phases. Right now, based on the information sent and received, the vaccination amounts will be brought over in phases. Why in phases? Because you need to get them in stock, and then they have to be flight over, and then we have to process them. And so it will be super. Let me repeat, because apparently the news reached St. Martin, depends what it is. I saw in the local papers, while I didn't give the information because of security reasons, somehow you know that my past, I deal a lot with security, so some security safety issues, it's not that you are hiding the information, but you just say it comes now. It have nothing to do with the corona. It just have to do with the safety of transport, location, and storage. is being put frontline in the front page of our local newspaper, while other information is not being done. The 60 plus and the health workers are the first that will be vaccinated in the community of St. Martin. Then you have the phase from those between 18 and 60 that because of the health that is, then the rest of the population will be vaccinated. The totality is as we go. I can give you figures. I can tell you 80,000 will be for St. Martin. But let's say if we need 85,000, that will be available. If we use less, then that is what we're using. But if you want to have everything in exact, life is not exact, and this is a health situation. So we have to adapt as we go. If I tell you the vaccination place will be in X location, but afterwards with the experience, it shows that it's better to put it in Z location. What, should we not change it? This is a dynamic process that is constantly going on. Now, none of us was alive in 1913. But in 1913, there was the Spanish flu. And a lot of people died. And then they came with a vaccination for the flu, the influenza. And now people don't die from influenza. But still, right now, there are those that wants to make like this is out of this world, that never happened, and people are confusing people. There are a lot of things already that people are confusing for. Let's all together work for the betterment of the health situation of our people in our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Minister Panafleck. I would now like to invite Jeffrey Sokrin. You have the virtual floor.
Thank you, Relika. Minister Panafleck, let me try and clarify the reason for one of my earlier questions and see if you have a different response. Our Prime Minister, as well as yourself, indicated that all residents of St. Martin, regardless of their immigration status, would be eligible for the vaccine. Residents, people that live here, whether legally or illegally. What I tried to ask earlier was, it has come to our attention that a number of our snowbirds, people that reside here part of the year but are resident somewhere else, they don't live here full time, that they have tried to register and have registered through the online application. So my question now becomes, if we only have a certain amount of vaccines, and this is truly a public health issue, and some of our snowbirds, less than full-time residents that are here for a short period of time, try and register to take a vaccine, that takes that vaccine away from someone who resides here full-time, regardless of their legal status. So how are we going to handle that throughout the registration system and the appointment making process to make sure that people that have registered for a vaccine actually reside here, they don't reside somewhere else? How are we going to handle that to preserve the sanctity of the number of vaccines that we have for folks that reside on the island of St. Martin on the Dutch side? Thank you, Minister.
Thank you, Dr. Sokrin. You call them
snowbirds, or people that spend the cold months on our island and go back home other parts of the year.
Dr. Sok, you can call them snowboard, you can call them what you want. I answered you that before, I'll answer you the same way again. People that are not residing on St. Martin, they are residing in some other part of the world, they are counted within their country to be vaccinated within their country. If you are here for 6 months, if you want to stay 9 months, but you're residents from somewhere else, your vaccination is waiting for you where you legally residing, not where you're vacationing, not where you're snowboarding, not where you're surfing, not where you are working online or nothing. Your vaccine is in your country of residence. Don't you listen to me good. I didn't say origin, because you might have be born and be a British and in England, but you're residing here, so your vaccine is here. You might be from here, you know, legally born, real St. Martin, or how they say, we for we, but you're living in the States. Your vaccine is in the States. That's how it is. Countries are taking care of their residents. And the great thing about that system is, if we all adhere to that, before you know, just like the Spanish flu, the influenza, it will be something from the past in the coming years and time forward. So, repeating myself, vaccine is connected to your place of residence, not where you are for 6, 3, 6, whatever months. Your residency, there your vaccine waits for you. Am I clear?
Yeah, you're completely clear, but here's the part you're missing, Minister, is that people that fall into that short-term category, they're here for 3, 6, however many months a year, they're actually going on to the link that has been provided and registering for a vaccine, registering to take the vaccine. And my question is, how are we going to prevent that from going all the way through to the appointment level? That's my question.
Good. It is, we still living in an artificial, we are living nowadays in artificial intelligence, but we're still dealing with humans. There are questions that will be asked because once you register, the purpose is from when your time comes to invite you to go to the location, wherever it's for you to get your vaccines. But before that, they will also ask you, are you residing here? Are you not residing here? So they will be filtering the information to make sure that you're a resident here. You understand? So it is not, I fill it in, I'll get it. No, they will filter it because it is for the local population, not the totality of people on the island, the local population. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister Panafleck. We now move on to Lyndon Brown. You have the final question.
Final big question to the Prime Minister. And we are highlighting the airport. Minister, you know and I know the airport had issue, but I don't have to be specific. But it seemed like Mr. Minko become the scapegoat. Minister, he been calling in Parliament. Now, you said last week that when the airport board cannot manage, the government or the ministers will deal with the matter. Has the matter dealt with?
Good morning. In dealing with that question, I believe I dealt with it last week. The government is the shareholder and deals with the holding company. We have requested information of the holding company as a result of all the letters, all the back and forth, all the melee, let's call it that, back and forth about this situation, because we cannot be, as government or as supervisory boards, management boards, or any type of authority taking decisions that is not properly substantiated. As shareholder, we are busy getting the information necessary to be able to hold who we have to hold accountable. The holding company is within their authority to request information. As a matter of fact, we have requested information of the holding that they have to request from the operating company in order to respond to us. So all levels have to communicate in order for proper accountability to take place. And as much as those who would like this discussion to continue in the public, I would like to reiterate that it is a internal discussion that has to happen, and when it is resolved, what is for public consumption can be brought forth to the public. I'd like for government, holding company, and all those involved to be given the opportunity to do their due diligence. As a matter of fact, the rules of order state that to have an official shareholders meeting, there has to be a 2-week time span. Any other meeting is just a third-party meeting where no decisions will be taken. At the moment, as government, we are assimilating the documentation to understand exactly what is being done and to ensure that all parties involved are handling within their correct authorities. That is what corporate governance is about. And this government is about promoting good corporate governance and ensuring that it takes place in the best possible way. It all boils down to at the end of the day, to having the right people in the right place at the right time. So if there's anyone not in the right place, then whichever authority authorized to do that will have to do their due diligence. But of course, substantiate that with proof. Yes? And all those other third parties outside of St. Martin, as well as those internally who are concerned about the continuity of management, we have assured all concerned that continuity of management will be a top priority for St. Martin. Every company in the world has management that changes at some point. The government of St. Martin changed in 2019. We had an interim government, and then in 2020 March, we became a permanent government. We did not stop any of the agreements that happened. We are doing our due diligence, and as such, we will expect the same in all our companies. Yes?
Thank you, Prime Minister Jacobs. Members of the Media Council of Ministers, this does bring us to the end of the question and answer session. Members of the media, thank you once again for joining us. Honorable Ministers of the Council, members of the media, radio listeners, and online viewers, this brings us to the end of the live Council of Ministers press briefing for today, Wednesday, February 17th, 2021. For a rebroadcast, tune in to St. Martin Gov Radio 107.9 FM, the official Facebook page of the Government of St. Martin, the YouTube channel Government of St. Martin, and St. Martin Cable TV channel 115. For video on demand, log on to the official government's website at stmartingov.org. On behalf of the Department of Communication and the Government of St. Martin, I'm Relaika Roach and wishing you a pleasant day further.